Rahman, jab, 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 jab. 4 of them. Chases Lewis across the ring.
And knocks him down with a thunderbolt of a right hand. He got a brand new heavyweight champion, and he's from the United States.
For 7 months after his unforgettable shot in the 5 a.m. darkness of South Africa, Hasim Rahman strutted his stuff as the heavyweight champion of the world. And we do mean strutted. He was honored with a parade. He emerged as a talk show personality. He flirted with bigger and bigger money offers from promoters and networks alike. He ridiculed the court battle that forced him to fight a rematch. And most of all, he taunted, he insulted, he trashed the man from whom he had taken the title. He put Lennox Lewis on the defensive again, or at least, so it seemed. But now we see that through the entire 7 months, Lewis was quietly plotting revenge. Now on HBO, a look back at the devastating knockout by which Lennox Lewis won the heavyweight crown for the 3rd time in his career. November 17, 2001, they met at the Mandalay Bay Events Center for the biggest prize in boxing, the heavyweight champion, reigning title holder Hasim Rahman, and former champion turned challenger Lennox Lewis in the 2nd of their 2 bouts with each other. A crystal clear night on the busiest weekend of the year in Las Vegas, a perfect setting on the Strip for high drama of the heavyweight kind. And the normal large complement of celebrities showed up at ringside, the likes of John McEnroe and Paul Reiser, Tracy Ullman and Meg Ryan together, Rosie O'Donnell, football coaching legend Jimmy Johnson, baseball superstar Mike Piazza, and Arnold and Maria, among the many stars who showed up. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley, along with George Foreman and Larry Merchant, as we welcome you to our rebroadcast of the 2nd of 2 heavyweight championship battles between American Hasim Rahman and Englishman Lennox Lewis. As the 2 fighters entered the ring last Saturday night, November 17, at the Mandalay Bay Events Center in Las Vegas, the stakes for Lewis could not have been clearer. A second loss to Rahman would relegate Lewis to the dustbin of history as a heavyweight champion largely uncared about by American fight fans, one whose style aroused little passion and few real followers. On the other hand, a victory over Rahman would put Lewis back in the position he occupied before his upset loss in April, that of a man with at least one huge money fight still on the horizon and a chance to leave the heavyweight division with a significant legacy as a meaningful champion. So the stakes couldn't have been clearer for Lewis after weeks of build-up, Larry Merchant, during which Hasim Rahman seemed to have made hay by taunting Lewis, seemingly getting under his skin, seizing the psychological advantage. As it turned out in the ring, did that strategy backfire against Rahman?
Sure did, because taunting basically is more about the taunter than the tauntee. And Rahman was very good at it, showed a lot of street smarts and wit and burrowed into Lewis and never gave him a breath, said he was going to see his cardiologist. But at the end of the day, what Lennox Lewis did was funnel his obvious rage, which he didn't try to hide, into a very cool battle plan, which he executed with the kind of passion we haven't often seen from him. And that explains, Jim, why Rahman worked so hard and spent so much money in court to avoid having to fight Lennox Lewis in an immediate rematch.
Well said, and cool indeed. Lewis walked a tight line between aggressiveness and care as he managed to produce a more destructive performance than has usually been the case without ever really, George, giving Rahman a chance to retaliate. As we get ready to watch the fight again on tape, Tell us what it is that Lewis did so well this time that he failed to do in South Africa.
First of all, he took a lot of the weight off his legs. He lost weight. He was in shape, able to bounce around, and he bruised him. Not only did he use the left jab, this time he should have done this the first time. It would have been a lot easier fight. Putting more weight behind the jab, busting him up, having him worried about his own face.
It's the benchmark of Lennox Lewis's whole career. When he uses his jab effectively, everything else falls into place. Let's take you back now to last Saturday night in Las Vegas, and you can watch that and the many other indicators by which we saw Lewis's gradually emerging dominance over Rahman.
Tail of the tape for the rematch between Hasim Rahman and Lennox Lewis. Lewis at 36 years of age. Is he off the diving board? The height advantage of 2.5 inches for Lewis. Reach advantage listed here, although there are some statistical compilations that indicate Rahman has an identical reach to that of Lewis. By our measurements, Lewis still 2 inches longer. Rahman weighed in 2 pounds under his Johannesburg weight at 236. Lewis 6.5 pounds under his Johannesburg weight at 246.5. We look back at a CompuBox statistical profile of what happened in the first fight down in South Africa. And the first thing you'll notice is that Lennox Lewis was throwing only 32 punches per round. Lewis must throw many more punches than that in order to maximize his chances to win. At his best, he throws about 60 punches per round, of which about 30 are jabs. But in South Africa, Lewis was only throwing 19 jabs per round. Rahman was landing about the same number, but throwing more, and that activity level helped to set Rock up for the right hand that won the fight. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Hasim Rahman Lennox Lewis fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight. In case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we'll go to the scorecards if the 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell at any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
For the first time in nearly 5 years, Lennox Lewis, in the role of challenger, will enter the ring first. George, we've talked about the significance in the past of a fighter trying to come back from a knockout loss against the same fighter who knocked him out. What must Lewis do in round 1 to reverse the psychology with which they left South Africa?
You got to make certain he doesn't get into any exchanges so that he does not taste and remember probably some injured confidence in there. One shot could bring it all back to him. I've been in that position before. You remember those knockouts too well. So his best thing is to stay out of exchanges, let him throw the shot from long ranges, don't get hit.
A rather pointed choice of entry music here as Lewis walks into James Brown's The Big Payback.
Well, Lennox Lewis has, at least in his public utterances, been in total denial of what happened in South Africa. He has a chance tonight to turn around that lazy, complacent, arrogant performance. Incidentally, Jim, the odds when this fight opened were somewhere between 4 and 5 to 1 in favor of Lewis. The latest report, it's down to 2 to 1. So the betting public is giving Rahman a serious chance to repeat South Africa.
Well, I don't think there's any question that observing the outward manifestations of the psychological interplay between the two fighters in these last few weeks leading up to the fight, the general perception is that Rahman is the one who's comfortable and likes his position. Lewis is on the defensive. Lennox says that's not the case. I'll reverse that as soon as I get into the ring tomorrow night. We shall see.
Remember that his history is when he gets angry or respectful or even fearful of an opponent, he tends to become more defensive, which is to his advantage as a fighter. That's his best style.
His natural style. a cautious, stand-your-ground counterpuncher. Here comes the man who might be seen as the attacker. Certainly he was the attacker in South Africa. When he went to Johannesburg to fight Lennox Lewis, he was widely seen as an ordinary fighter. Larry, in recent weeks, he's been at great pains to portray himself as just an ordinary guy who happens to hold the heavyweight championship of the world. How much chance is there that at the end of this night we'll look back and say, well, he was just ordinary after all?
Well, he is just an ordinary guy in the sense, one of 12 children, brother who's a doctor, father who's a Muslim prison minister, an ordinary guy who sold drugs as a teenager, had 5 bullets removed from his stomach, and 500 plus stitches put into his head after a fatal car accident. An ordinary guy who went from thug to pug, the heavyweight champion of the world. Just about as ordinary as you can be, Jim.
Like so many American heavyweights of recent vintage, he came relatively late to the sport after having shown his athletic talent in other pursuits like football and swimming. His father wanted him to swim in a swim club as a teenager, and he did, but he's approached a steep learning curve in boxing pretty doggone well.
Yes, he has. You know, we thought 4 or 5 years ago that he was a comer, that he had a chance, that he showed athletic ability, that he showed intelligence in the ring. But then he seemed to crest, go into a valley when he was knocked out by Moskiev. But this is a sport when one punch can change your life, and it changed his and maybe ours.
So, George, is it Hasim Rahman's job now to go into this first round and try to hit Lennox Lewis as soon as possible with another big right-hand shot?
Remember, the knockout that he got over Lewis kind of developed itself. He didn't go out there searching for it. The knockout came to him. You go out there searching for it and you find yourself in a fix that so many fighters have been in with Lennox Lewis, trying to reach that long left jab, trying to get too much distance, close that distance. Let it happen. It happened before, it can happen again.
A sizable number of ringside experts making exactly that pick in the last few days, watching the two fighters leading up to the fight. Many of the writers and broadcasters now saying, Rock's gonna do it again. Let's see if he does, as we go up to Timmy Lennon Jr. for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to the beautiful Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino here in Las Vegas, Nevada, as it's time for the featured bout of the evening, and it's all brought to you by Don King Productions in association with Lion Promotions, Main Events, the Mandalay Bay, and Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. This bout coming away is sanctioned by the WBC, President Jose Sulaiman, Supervisor Mauricio Sulaiman, the IBF, President Marian Mohammed, Supervisor Mahasan Scott, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The chairman is Dr. Luther Mack, Commissioners Amy Ayub, Dr. Tony Alamo, Glenn Carano, and Dr. Flip Pomansky, with the Executive Director, Mark Ratner. Introducing to you our judges, scoring this bout from ringside, all from Las Vegas, Nevada, Patricia Jarman Manning, Dave Moretti, and Jerry Roth. And the third man to the ring, the referee in charge of this bout, he is working in this, his 145th world title bout, Joe Cortez. All right, fans, here we go, live from the Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for, the main event of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing for the heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, entering the ring wearing white trunks with red trim, hailing from London, England. He weighed in at a ready 246.5 pounds. 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 246.5 pounds His record stands at 38 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 1988 Olympic gold medalist, the former 2-time and undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Here is tonight's challenger, introducing Lennox Lewis. His opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner, the defending world champion, entering the ring wearing red, white, and blue trunks, fighting out of and representing his home of Baltimore, Maryland. He weighed in at 236 pounds with a record of 35 wins, 2 losses. He has 29 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight he is making the first defense of his title. Please welcome the WBC, the IBF, and the IBO heavyweight champion of the world, introducing the hard-hitting Hasim, the Rock Once again, a referee in charge. Now to give instructions, Joe Cortez.
All right, pull up that T-shirt. Jack. Gentlemen, we went over the rules in the dressing room. I expect a good, clean fight. I want good sportsmanlike conduct. Guys, these trunks here, Lennox, a little high. Punches here, above here, they're good. Same thing with you. Punches here, trunks a little high. Punches here is good. Give me a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Remember, guys, I'm fair, but I'm firm. God bless you. God bless America. Touch them up.
It's on, baby. It's on.
There are 2 common sense outcomes here. One, a repeat knockout by Rahman. The other, a defensive decision by Lewis. This being boxing, we often get uncommon sense, something we never foresee.
Those are the 2 forms of conventional wisdom.
There's no sweat on Rahman. Rahman is pretty dry.
That is not good, is it, George?
That's the way you want to be caught.
Now, do you suppose Lennox Lewis is alert and aware enough to note that Rahman is dry?
He should benefit himself just by him being in that position. When a guy's dry like that, don't let him get sweaty and loose.
Rahman coming back with the jab, trying to get that weapon started just as he did in round 1 in Johannesburg.
Lennox has got to make certain that his back is always at least 3 feet away from those ropes. Give him time to be hit and move out of the way.
Neither man has a good history with his back against the ropes. Rahman's 2 losses against Maskai Aventua both came when he got trapped against the ropes and hammered by power punches. Hard right hand by Lewis over the top, lands on Rahman's chin.
Oh, stop! Let him go. Let him go. Let him go, please. Let him go.
That may have been a more effective right hand than any of the right hands Lennox threw in South Africa.
I see blood already on Rahman's face. Let's hope it's the red from the gloves and not blood. When Lennox throws that left jab, he has to constantly move. He can't stand there and see if the jab lands. He got to keep moving. Step and a half. Jab, step. Jab, step. Step.
Halfway through the round, Rahman has yet to throw a right hand.
So it appears that Rahman has come to box, not to punch, at least for the moment. Lewis, his normal patient self, sticking the jab and allowing Rahman to come to him.
In the first fight, Rahman jabbed to the chest. He didn't reach for Lennox's head. You better go back to the basic. Keep your jabs headed to his chest. Everything good happens.
If you're in Lennox Lewis' Lewis's corner, you like what you've seen in these first couple of minutes. If you're in Hasim Rahman's corner, you may still be waiting for your man to get properly warmed up.
Somebody is bleeding, and I think it is Rahman because there's blood on the left shoulder of Lewis.
I think the right hand opened Rahman's left eye. And that left eye was bleeding in South Africa at the moment when Rahman knocked Lewis out. It created a sense of urgency for Rahman in South Africa, and he's bleeding above the left eye now.
You don't want him to let Lennox Lewis get his rhythm with his jab.
I'm told that the replay is going to show the right hand was on the chin, so maybe it's the jab that opened the left eye.
It was a good right hand, that's for certain.
But there's no question Rahman is bleeding from above the left eye. That is his lead eye. It's the eye that Lewis will be targeting with his jab. It's a disadvantage for Hasim Rahman from the get-go. Good round for Lewis. He drew blood.
Keep pumping the jab, baby. Watching the right hand. Start getting a little bit more of the hooks off from down here while you're getting the hook off, okay? Fighting a good fight. Good fight.
Rahman's cut man is the excellent Miguel Diaz.
It's nice and calm, baby. That jab is doing a toll. You don't hurt him already. Put the right hand behind him. Come behind with the left hook. Suck it in. Yeah. You okay, baby? Miguel got you. You okay?
Let's take a look at a replay, Larry.
That could have been the jab. And from the reaction,
it was a right hand. It was a right hand a while before then that did all of that.
Well, from Rahman's reaction, he knows he was bleeding.
That was not the jab to do it. Punch to do it.
Jabs in round one. Lewis threw 37 of them and landed 17. The statistical marker on Lewis in those fights in which he throws more than 30 jabs per round, he's awfully hard to handle. Rahman threw 30 jabs in the first round and landed 16. So he's off to a good start as well.
He's allowing Lewis to use the middle of the ring. Is what he shouldn't do. Lewis' back should always be 2 feet from the rope.
Nevada State Athletic Commission Executive Director Mark Ratner assures us that the cut over Rahman's eye was caused by a punch, not by a butt. So it's a legal cut.
I saw the right hand, that's for sure. I don't think Rahman saw it coming.
Lennox Lewis threw 37 jabs in round one. If he throws 37 jabs around, Emmanuel Stewart, his trainer, is going to be very happy with the way Lewis is prosecuting the fight. There's a left hook that lands and a right to the body.
Lewis only hurts himself when he gets into these close exchanges. If he can stay on the outside,
behind the head, okay? Let's go.
Close exchanges, he's going to hurt.
There he jabs and steps back. That's part of the plan. Jab, step back, keep the distance between himself and Rahman.
Now Lewis is getting closer to the ropes. This is what Rahman should want now.
Bring up.
Make him keep his back on those ropes, and that same right hand is always there for you.
The exchange is still in the center of the ring for the moment. Lewis trying to keep his jab upstairs. Now he throws to the body. A tactic that worked so well for Rahman in South Africa.
Let go.
Some of the jabs that Lewis is landing are the hardest I've ever seen him land.
That's where it has to be. It's got to be hard. It's got to puff you up so that you can make the man stay his dish.
Yeah, there have been times when he's just been sort of painting his opponent and moving away at the same time. But he's throwing some hard left hands tonight.
This is indeed a very aggressive jabbing performance by Lewis, and you saw him jab to the top of the head, then bring the right hand over the top, George. He loves to hide the right hand by jabbing you up on the head.
Once again, Lewis's legs are a little too close to the ropes. That's where he's going to find his troubles if he finds them at all. Back is getting even closer now. He's got to stay in the middle of the ring. Rahman is starting to get him to go on the ropes now.
How do you like the way Rahman's working his way back into it?
He's got his body, got Lennox back on the ropes. Lennox is in an excellent position now. Stay in the middle of the ring.
Lennox misses with a big left hook. as round 2 comes to a close.
Having fun. Once you get into your foot, you don't forget this man ain't no big hooker. Ain't nobody punch. All you watching is one thing all night. Just take that away from him. Even if you want to just sit in front of him and shield it in front of him. He's not doing it. You're kind of getting into your floor a little bit now.
You got to stay alert, man. He's going to get desperate now. He's getting
Watch
desperate.
the right hand. Take that away from him. Even if you have to just sit right there and shield it. Whatever. Take that away.
Suck it in. How you feel, baby? Good. Tip the lip. Once that jab start landing, you know the right hand come behind it. Do it.
Here's Lewis after throwing a series of jabs, lands a clean left hook. And here, some jabs. That is one stiff jab.
And he's thrown 68 jabs in the first 2 rounds. He's never lost a fight in which he's averaged 30 jabs per round. Through round 2, by CompuBox numbers of 72 total connected punches, 55 are jabs. So it has been a jabbing contest up to a point, but Lewis did land the one big right hand in round number 1.
And he drew blood, so perhaps Rahman got under Lewis's skin with the taunting, but Lewis got under his skin with a punch.
Lewis's corner told him, don't worry about the left hand, don't worry about the hook, just stay out of the right hand. That's your harm's way. And Lewis is doing a good job, but you got to step back to your left every now and then and make him throw the hook. Make Rahman throw his hook. Rahman doesn't seem to have any confidence in a good, strong left hook. So what do you want to do is make him throw him. Just make him do it.
Rahman contends in sparring his left hook is getting better, but he's been a 1-2 fighter through most of his career. Jab, right cross. As for that matter, has Lewis. There's a left hook by Lewis, and it lands.
It hurt. Not only did it land, it hurt Rahman. Now you don't want to get too overconfident with a guy who's knocked you out. Keep the hurt on, keep the rounds coming.
Rahman trying to pound to the body as he gets in close. Lewis lands another stiff jab, and Rahman backs back out.
There's the hook. Make him throw those hooks. Lewis is doing a good job of that.
He seems for the moment, George, to have nullified Rahman's right hand. How's he doing it?
Boy, he's hurt him from long range, as we said earlier. Hits him with a good right hand and never tries to finish it.
This is not a Lennox Lewis who is especially defensive. He's boxing and punching.
This is a Lennox Lewis who's commanding the space in the ring in exactly the same way he did not do it in South Africa.
Rahman can still reel this fight in, but he's going to have to get Lennox Lewis on those ropes and make him, there you go, make him believe out of that left hook.
Rahman finally lands a left hook.
Lennox's knees are trembling already because of a left hook. He's holding a little bit this time, Lennox Lewis. That left hook rung his bell.
But the jab comes back. And when Lewis doubles up and triples up on the jab, he keeps the space between himself and Rahman. Rahman jabbing to the body again.
Lewis' hands are down. He's close to the ropes. What more can you ask for if you're Rahman?
53 damn jabs.
You saw the formula though when you started going to him. You can change up on this man now. You don't have to. You can start just saving yourself. Start going to him and playing.
Hey, backing up. Throw the right kidney and stuff. And every time he come at you, do like this. Put them hands up. That kills everything. Just keep doing that. You can't get over your arms. Every time you make any kind of retreat, run to you, put your hands up high. That stops everything.
Why are you moving the bucket for us?
Good. Just relax yourself, champ.
Lennox Lewis may have been outwitted by the verbally sharp champion. He is not being out-hit by him.
First 3 rounds have followed the Lewis plan, particularly in the sense that he's throwing the jab with great frequency, averaging 34 jabs per round. He landed 17 out of 34 jabs in round 3. That's a great statistical indicator for Lewis from CompuBox. Harold Letterman, how'd you score the first 3 rounds?
Okay, Jim. 3-0, 30-27. Lennox Lewis. Jim, when a guy circles to his right like Lennox is doing, it's an unnatural move for a right-hand fighter. He's doing it beautifully, so that Rock can't hit him with that big right hand. Good ring generalship for Lennox Lewis. Another thing, in all the exchanges, Lennox will get off first, keep Rahman off balance, so Rahman can't get set to punch. Watch this, Lennox is always going to land the first punch.
Perhaps by way of trying to ask his fighter to be even more aggressive, Emanuel Stewart between rounds said to Lennox Lewis, Lennox, this man can't counterpunch. Go get him.
Yeah, but the one thing that lives in Lennox Lewis' head, that night in Africa.
Yep.
You can't take that away from him.
You know, even his own corner said to him, to Rahman, if he punches, just keep your hands high. They're telling him not to counterpunch.
Boom! Will Rahman get up, or have the tables been turned? Is it reversed?
7, 8, 9.
It's over. Lennox Lewis got revenge.
Has captured his revenge, and now it's Rahman complaining in the corner that he didn't get the full count. Lennox Lewis fought a virtually perfect fight.
Emanuel Stewart asked him to attack. He did, and he got the result they were looking for. George, what did you think of the stoppage?
You know what happened? Lennox Lewis let an ordinary fighter beat him in Africa. He came back and made the ordinary fighter look like an ordinary fighter. I think the stoppage was right on time. The guy got caught with a hard shot. Very few fellas can get up from him. He got up, went down. Cortez the best.
In the trial in which Rahman was forced to take this rematch, Emanuel Stewart testified that you have to make it immediate because our fighter Lennox Lewis is getting older. Lennox Lewis just made him a perjurer.
I love it. Larry's talking about age in the opposite direction. He's been converted.
That may turn out to be Lennox Lewis's most respected performance ever in the ring.
Isn't that something? Beautiful stuff.
This is what some of his supporters thought he could have done to Holyfield if he had decided to be more aggressive. Rahman totally out of position after the left, and the right hand was good night.
He did it by long range. That's most importantly. He didn't try to close in. Everything was out in the opening. That's the way you want to fight a puncher.
And he set it all up with the left hand by firing aggressively, keeping his left hand in Rahman's face, mixing in the left hook every once in a while with the jab. He changed it up here. Instead of jab and right hand, it was hook and right hand.
And you know what? The old saying, never follow a puncher around.
And Rahman did.
Rahman made the fatal mistake. I'm going to follow you no matter what you jab me or what, I'm going to follow you.
Well, Rahman has spent months saying he had no respect for Lennox Lewis. He went into the ring and showed he had no respect for Lennox Lewis, and he paid the price.
It happened to Lennox Lewis in the same fashion. He had no respect for Rahman, and he tasted canvas.
So now they're even. 5th round knockout for Rahman in South Africa. 4th round knockout for Lewis here, and Lennox regains what he surely believes is his right, the heavyweight championship of the world.
Isn't that something? Cannot believe it. And this all happened because Rahman had no respect. He didn't repeat. Beaten in the chest, he just threw at the head and missed.
And incidentally, to go back to the point you made at the very beginning of the fight, Rahman came into the ring not fully warmed up, and he never really caught up to Lewis's
dry as a bone, and by the time the sweat was there, he's already caught on a bloody eye.
What's that about? I told you they were unknown. You're unknown. What's that about?
All 3 judges had scored the first 3 rounds, all for Lewis, so he was well on his way to the decision victory that most of his supporters thought he'd get. Then he shortened it up. Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr. for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, We have the time of 1 minute 29 seconds in round number 4. Our referee in charge, Joe Cortez, reaches the count of 10. The winner by way of knockout. He is now the 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, Lennox Lewis.
Final CompuBox numbers will show you Lewis' advantages in all categories. He landed 24 more punches. He threw 39 more punches. He was brilliantly accurate, connecting with half the punches that he threw. He painted Rahman with power punches, mostly set up by the jab. And in the end, he scored the huge combination, left hook, right cross, and knocked Rahman out. There you have it, total jabs. Lewis threw 111 jabs in just under 4 rounds, and that's the benchmark. When he throws 30 jabs per round, you can't handle him. Rahman could not. Let's go to Larry Merchant with the heavyweight champ, Lennox Lewis.
Thank you, Jim. Congratulations, Lennox. You came into the fight. Your opponent was bone dry. Did you notice anything right from the start?
Well, I seen a little twinkle in his eye, you know. Plus I've been dreaming all week to change his name from the has-been Rahman. His name's has-been Rahman now.
How did you turn your anger at him for all of the taunts he's been making at you into a positive?
No, man, no.
Into a positive for you?
I didn't even hear the question.
I'm sorry, Lennox. How did you turn?
Congratulations. Thanks, man.
How did you turn all the anger that you had welling up in you because of the taunting, because of your own lackluster performance in Africa, into this positive?
I just stayed focused. When we were in South Africa, I said that the belts were on loan. So he's had his 15 minutes of glory. Now they come back home to me.
Do you acknowledge now that you didn't give your absolute best effort? You didn't take him seriously in Africa?
Well, you know what? I didn't take him serious enough. I was in good shape in Africa, but one punch, he got through with one punch when I was a little not focused in that fight, and he got through with a great punch. We're in the heavyweight business. You can end things in one punch.
Why did you hide out in your dressing room tonight? You seemed like you were just in your own zone, and you just were focused on what was going to happen?
Yeah, I was very focused. I didn't want to get into the hoopla. I was just showing the world that I was focused. They couldn't see too much of me. Even Rahman wanted to come in and see what I was doing. He was nervous, so he was outside my dressing room. I was laughing. Madiba! Yeah, big up South Africa.
The first few rounds, you describe what you were doing in the first few rounds. Your jab seemed more authoritative than we've ever seen it. You stayed away from his right hand. Was that the plan?
Yeah, just to give him some movement. He couldn't take the movement, and I just showed him a different style. I told you I can switch any style I want to, and this time I just showed him a different style of moving.
All right, let's go now to the fourth. Let's go to the fourth round and take a look at the knockout. You tell us what you saw. Emmanuel told you in the corner you can be more aggressive. What did you see?
Well, I notice every time I try and reach around him with a hook, he sticks his arms out. And more time, he's watching out for the straight right hand. So I kind of turned it around on him and threw a roundhouse right hand.
Emmanuel Stewart also said to you, look, this man doesn't counterpunch. You can attack him.
Yeah, I took some of the pressure to him. Gave him a lot of things to think about. Kitchener Waterloo, big up.
What does that mean?
Huh?
What did you say?
I'm just bigging him up, bigging up all these places. Miami, big up.
All right, British Lincoln. It was speculated before this fight, and reasonably, that you had been knocked out by this man, and that you would be conscious of that in this fight. How did you express that?
Well, I definitely wasn't gun shy. Plus I wanted to knock him out in the fourth round a little quicker than he knocked me out. So, in a sense, I got my up on him.
Do you feel that any of his pre-fight antics from the fight at the ESPN publicity tour to all of the stuff that was going on helped you in any way?
Yeah, it did. Those things really helped me. You know, I showed a lot of disrespect there, and I just was keeping all these things inside me. I said, okay, you're going to pay fight time, and you know, this is where he paid for it.
Thank you very much. But now talk to us about your future. There are a number of fighters out there who you could fight, whether it's Tyson, Bird, who is a #1 ranked fighter. It could be your countryman Kirk Johnson. It could be Vladimir Klitschko. Where do you want to go?
You know, I want Tyson. Definitely want Tyson. You know, I've been waiting for him since after the Holyfield fight, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'll take whoever. You know, Ocean's 11 is coming up, and I was fighting a guy named Magnovich on screen, so that fight may come around. There's Bird out there. There's enough guys out there, but you know, whoever.
How satisfying is this fight for you compared to anything else that's happened in your career?
It's very satisfying for me because, you know, a lot of people had me count out. They said I was too old. They said this may wreck my future. You know, I'm really happy about it. You know, I knew what I wanted to do, what I was going to go out there and do, and I went out and did it.
Thank you very much, Lennox. Congratulations again.
And now Larry Merchant will go across the ring and try to get a word with Hasim Rahman as we take an aerial look at the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino, where in the event center Lennox Lewis has regained his heavyweight crown. And now let's go to Larry Merchant with the now former heavyweight champ Hasim Rahman.
Thank you again, Jim. Hasim, you said that you thought he would try to fight you in some different way tonight. What was that way from your perspective?
Well, I thought he was attacking more early than last time, and provided me plenty of opportunities to counter him with my own right hand. But I thought he kept his distance good today. But basically, the whole situation is it ain't no dominant champions out here today. Lennox Lewis, Mike Tyson, Hasim Rahman, Vander Holyfield, John Ruiz, any of us could get beaten on any given day. As we keep showing you, it's just a round robin, and it ain't no dominant champions out here. You know, I got to give him respect. He prepared well. He was in shape. He threw a nice, hard right hand. I didn't even see the punch coming. He threw it off the hook, blinded me with the hook, and threw the right hand. It was a good punch. I give him enough credit. He got the title. He's the champ. But ain't nobody got no long title reign who I see.
Was his left jab more important in this fight than it was before? Because he seemed to be landing it with more authority, and you weren't landing yours.
Yeah, I think it was not only his jab, but his distance. He did a good job with his footwork and his distance. He stopped me from landing my jab really well. He was a lot more cautious, and he fought a good fight. He must study the tapes pretty good, and you can't take nothing away from him. But as you know, any of us get hit with a big right hand, it's a lot of punches at the top of this division. It ain't no heavyweight that's going to stand at the top like that right now.
All right, let's take a look at what happened in the 4th round, Rock, and see how that ended in the round before you finished him in South Africa.
He led with the hook, you know, turned my head with the hook, blinded me with the hook, and threw the straight, perfect right hand. You know, with these big, strong guys lifting an enormous amount of weights, look at it, it was a good shot, you know, and I wasn't able to recover. So, you know, that's what happens.
Did that bloody eye bother you at all?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he cut my eye in the first round. It was dripping, but, you know, I had to go on. I didn't even really want to paw at it because, you know, notions to come up that I want to quit or this, that, and the other. But I ain't no quitter. I mean, Lennox Lewis been knocked out in the amateurs and the pros. You know, that's just something that happened in boxing. A fighter get knocked out is how they come back. You know, he came back, showed he a true champion. Now it's up to me to come back and see what I can do.
Do you think that all the taunting that you did so successfully against him before the fight helped him at the end of the day?
I don't know. I think it was his preparation. The taunting, I don't think had anything to do either way. He prepared proper. He had a good game plan. He kept my jab away, and he kept his distance. I thought he fought a very smart, very intelligent fight, and I was, you know, hoping that I could get him into the later rounds where he could slow down a little bit. But you know, it didn't happen, unfortunately, and I just got to go back to the drawing board.
I take it from your comments that you're going to keep on keeping on, and you want more big fights as a heavyweight.
Oh, definitely. I want to fight somebody, you know, who can fight, who I'm not supposed to be able to beat, as always. And I think I got a few more surprises in the
Just one thing. Of all the gamblers in this town on this night, you took the biggest gamble of all by taking less money and taking your chance that the future would take care of itself. Do you regret that?
Oh, not at all. Who says I took less money? You know, my purse ain't tallied up yet. My purse is generated on pay-per-view buys, the crowd sales. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell me what I made. Can you tell me what I made?
No, I'm not a good accountant.
I might make $5-6 million more than him.
Thank you very much, Rock. We'll see you again. Jim?
We are talking boxing. During Muhammad Ali's enforced absence from the ring, the heavyweight title was split between Jimmy Ellis and Joe Frazier. There would be a unifying battle between them, but it was a long time coming. In the meantime, Frazier successfully defended his share of the crown 3 times before meeting Jerry Quarry on June 23, 1969. This was an all-important fight for Quarry, whose record was 31-6, and who was getting his second chance at a title since losing to Ellis a year earlier. Frazier was undefeated in 23 fights. Now, for the main event, Frazier versus Quarry 1, June 23, 1969 at Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately, this is a lost classic that hasn't been entirely found. Pieces of various rounds are still missing, but this fight was too good not to show you. So, we'll show you everything we have. Here it is.
Ready for round 1, and there it is.
But not hit to go against them, just slipping back against them. A left landed against Joe's head. Joe came in with a right uppercut. Quarry is landing off it. Frazier keeps his gloves low and is an open target for punches to the head. Quarry is landing frequently. Frazier just got in a quick left and a right. But what? Quarry with those quick hands. A right and a left. This crowd is very much pro-Quarry. Quarry fighting differently thus far in this bout. Not retreating. Quarry carrying the fight to Frazier, who is unrelentingly aggressive himself and usually swarms all over the opponent. Punches thrown in this first round. A good left by Frazier and a good counter punch right by Quarry. We have a minute and a half left in the first round. The general conviction is that Quarry can take a punch better than Frazier. He's got a granite-like chin, but he hasn't perhaps faced a man who can hit like Frazier before. Quarry is hiding his face behind his gloves. 1 minute left in round 1. Both men trying to do damage to the midsection. Quarry that hurt Frazier a little bit. 30 seconds left in the first round. The two men trading punches throughout the round. Good left by Quarry. Those who think that Quarry has just the right style for Frazier may be finding encouragement in this round. It's now time for round 2. The bell for round 2. Quarry against Frazier. Madison Square Garden, New York City. Frazier, black trunks, Quarry red. First round surprises. Quarry carrying the fight to Frazier, rattling counterpunching. It'll be interesting to see if... Oh, a good right by Quarry. A counterpunch. It'll be interesting to see if Quarry reverts to natural style. The crowd knows
noise here is terrific. I realize that. It will be interesting, I was saying, to see if Quarry reverts to natural style and counterpunches. 2 lefts by Quarry, one to the midsection, one to the neck area. Neither doing any damage. Frazier, the attacker. Remember, when you see Quarry against the ropes, it is always his ruse to go back there and then suddenly unload left-right combinations. He has fooled many opponents that way, including Floyd Patterson. We're a minute 25 seconds into round 2. Incidentally, Angelo Dundee, manager of Jimmy Ellis, and Jimmy Ellis himself both gave the first round to Quarry, who is not quite carrying the fight in this round the way he did in the first round. A good right, though, by Quarry right there. Oh, a good right by Quarry, and another good right by Quarry. Frazier, when he delivers his left, drops the hand and leaves himself wide open for the right. He has always been vulnerable to this punch. 1 minute left in round 2. They are directly above us now. The action slightly still. Some holding and pushing. A left by Quarry, and 2 quick lefts by Frazier, right by Frazier. Quarry trying to go to the midsection.
Now, round 3.
Madison Square Garden, Frazier against Quarry, heavyweight championship fight. Frazier, black trunks, Quarry, red. Frazier, oh, a good right by Frazier. An attempt to follow up with a left that missed. Another good left, and Quarry was stung. He's hurt. Now he's trying to fight out of it against the rope. Frazier drew blood from Quarry's left nostril and perhaps from the mouth in the second round. Quarry is, I think, hurt. Perhaps not seriously. Now he's moving out. And he's willing to absorb punishment, while some of his punches loop. While they're not straight, their accumulative impact is enormous. The blood is coming from Quarry's left nostril again. I trust you can see it. Now Quarry comes in with a good left and right. Quarry is a tough kid, I'll tell you that. Into this round 3. For those of you scoring the fight, you might be interested to know that Jimmy Ellis's manager, Angie Dundee, has it 1 round apiece so far. Ellis has it 2 rounds Quarry, none Frazier. Dundee gave Frazier the second round, and so far, Frazier is clearly the winner of this round. Jerry is fighting off the ropes effectively, as he always does. We are coming up to the 2-minute mark in round 3. Frazier left himself continually open to the Quarry right, and that's been Quarry's best punch thus far. Whom you see from time to time in the picture, the referee is one of the better ones. The reason, he has great mobility. He is always in good position. Subconsciously, you'll catch him moving and always positioned properly.
Stay tuned for more fight action between Joe Frazier and Jerry Quarry from Madison Square Garden. And we are back with Joe Frazier versus Jerry Quarry 1. Now, this was a classic fight between two great heavyweights. Unfortunately, the film quality is poor in some places, and pieces of rounds are missing. But since this fight holds an important place in the annals of boxing history, we've elected to show it as is. The fight was for the New York State Heavyweight Championship, and one that Quarry desperately wanted to win. And he felt totally prepared. Not only had he trained hard, but he'd sparred with Joe Frazier and felt that he knew how to beat him. As you heard in the third round, Howard Cosell called Quarry a tough kid, but that doesn't begin to describe it. Listen to this. The year before this fight, Quarry had lost a majority decision to Jimmy Ellis, fighting the entire 15 rounds with a broken bone in his back. Here again, Quarry is holding his own, giving back almost as much as he's taken. We now return to Frazier versus Quarry 1, which has so far been a very aggressive fight on both sides. We'll pick it back up in the fourth round.
Round 4, Madison Square Garden, New York City. Heavyweight championship fight. Joe Frazier, black trunks. Jerry Quarry, red. Frazier coming on strongly in the third round. Quarry looking very good in the first round. Not counter-punching then, carrying the fight, but now back in his old style as Frazier continually carries the fight. Swarming over him, having him against the ropes, getting him with a good left, a good right. Oh, a very good left by Joe Frazier. He is a tough kid, this Joe Frazier, I'll tell you. A left and a left again. Quarry knows he's in some fight. But Quarry has a granite chin. Nobody's ever knocked him out. However, you can see a growing confidence in Frazier. He is directly over us now with Quarry pinioned in the corner. We have 2 minutes left in round 4. Quarry, black trunks, red trunks. Frazier, black trunks. You see the blood underneath Quarry's right eye on the cheekbone. When it's under the eye, there is no danger, of course, of blinding the fighter. It's the cuts over the eyes that cause fights to be stopped. Frazier is pummeling Quarry consistently now, doing great damage with the left. Quarry's face swelling, becoming a pulpy mess. Frazier appears basically unmarked. We have a minute to go in round 4 as Frazier again connects with the left. It's getting in there. The crowd yells at a left by Quarry in the midsection, but it doesn't do the damage that their partisanship would like to have had it done. Like to have had it do. Frazier swinging him around against the ropes as the crowd boos. They are so much for Quarry, but he is unrelentingly aggressive, Frazier, connected with a right lead. He is commanding this fight right now.
It's now time for round 5.
Frazier keeps coming after him, getting him with the left. Remember? Quarry always keeps that right low, and the left can get over it again and again and again. Fatal weakness. Quarry trying to move more now. You see him bouncing and bobbing and weaving a little, trying to move, but Frazier always after. Frazier as yet unmarked. The blood again coming out of Quarry's right cheekbone. The left getting in there steadily. Occasionally, the right. You see Frazier's left speak for itself. While they're directly above us, let's get a quick comment from Angelo Dundee. Jimmy Ellis is back. Angie?
Frazier completely dominating him now.
Jerry can't get him set up for shots. He's slipping real good, and he's dominating the fight right now.
Angelo Dundee saying exactly what we've been saying, that Frazier is completely dominant right now. The left is working in there with almost meticulous precision. The blood drawn from Quarry's face every round since the second. A minute and 30 seconds left to go, and this, the fifth round. Frazier, black trunks, Quarry, red. Frazier, to most of us at ringside, dominating this fight ever since the second round. There's a minute left in the fifth round, and a lot of people thought this fight wouldn't go more than 5 rounds. Crowd getting worked up because Jerry has landed with a couple of rights, but Frazier is all over him. With the courage of Quarry, this fight could go a very long time indeed, unless it's stopped by the referee and the commission doctors because of the flow of blood from Quarry's face. Frazier, black trunks, Quarry, red.
We'll be back with round 6 of Joe Frazier versus Jerry Quarry 1 in a moment. And we're back with Joe Frazier versus Jerry Quarry 1 from Madison Square Garden. This fight was broadcast in 1969, but the film has suffered a bit since then, and parts of certain rounds are missing. Still, given the fight's importance in the history of the sport, we've opted to present it anyway. Frazier is clearly dominating the fight, following his usual pattern of moving in on his opponent and crowding him with a steady barrage of blows. But Quarry is still on his feet, even after taking punch after punch after punch. Anybody who ever saw Quarry in action knew that he always came to fight. And now, with a chance to dethrone Joe Frazier, he's holding on for dear life. Let's go now to round 6.
Now the bell for round 6. Joe Frazier, utterly unmarked, completely dominant now in the bout. Moving in strongly, aggressively, relentlessly, confident. Hitting with the left always above the lowered right of Jerry Quarry.
He's right in bad shape right now, and Quarry's getting involved pretty good. I just think that he's hurt his right hand, but he's not zinging it in like he did earlier. I think he definitely damaged his right hand.
Angelo Dundee noting, too, that Quarry's right hand appears to have been hurt because he is not using it the way he did in the earlier going. 1 minute to go. 1 minute, rather, into the 6th round, 2 minutes to go. Well, let's hear it, Angie, once and for all. Is Jimmy Ellis going to fight the winner of this fight?
Jimmy will be happy to meet Frazier anytime. I assure you he won't be laying on the ropes like that.
Angelo Dundee, the manager of Jimmy Ellis, the man who first managed and then trained Muhammad Ali. Quarry against the ropes. We have a minute 30 to go in round 6. It has become, in effect, a ceaseless, steady pummeling by Frazier of Quarry. Certainly beginning with round 3, very possibly with round 2. Quarry carries the first round. We are coming up to the 2-minute mark. A minute to go in round 6. Frazier has not been able to put Jerry away. Jerry's got bulldog courage, a granite chin, but how long can he stand up under this relentless pursuit? And the cut-up face, the left, getting in there so terribly and so often.
round 7.
Frazier, black trunks, Quarry, red trunks, Madison Square Garden, New York City, heavyweight championship fight. Throughout the first 6 rounds, with the exception of the first round, Joe Frazier has been pummeling Quarry. He did it all over again in the 6th round, may have coasted a little bit. Quarry's face cut severely, especially the right cheekbone. You can see the cut immediately opened again by one of those Frazier lefts. The left keeps getting in there because Quarry keeps his right low. The defect he has had fatally throughout his boxing career. Fatally in the sense that he was always open to the punch. He has a successful record, but he was trapped by Machen and he was outboxed by Ellis. Frazier still unbeaten in 23 fights, and apparently now coasting to some degree. Quarry was a very tired young man as he went to his corner at the end of the 6th round. We are past the 1-minute mark in this, the 7th round of the bout. As I said, unless this bout is stopped, or unless Quarry makes a stupendous rally, it could go very long indeed because Quarry has very great courage and can take a punch as well as anybody I have recently seen in the ring. Frazier got in a good right there. He's been doing most of the damage in the recent rounds with the left, reopening the cut. When he comes in with the right from time to time and lands effectively with it, reopening the flow of blood from the left nostril. We are approaching the 2-minute mark in the 7th round. That's a tremendous cut under Quarry's right eye. A tremendous cut. Had it been over the eye, this fight would have been stopped long ago. There's no bounce left to Jerry, no spring. He doesn't seem to be able, as we pointed out, to throw that right with its usual zip. It may be that that right hand has been injured, but we can't know for sure till after the fight. 30 seconds to go in this, the 7th round. Frazier against Quarry. Black trunks, Frazier, red trunks, Quarry.
Well, as you just saw, Jerry Quarry was taking a beating from Joe Frazier and opened a cut under his right eye. Between the 7th and 8th rounds, Quarry admitted to a ringside doctor that he could no longer see out of that eye, and the fight was immediately stopped. Well, the fight may be over, but the action in the ring didn't stop. Stay tuned for some lively post-fight interviews.
They stopped the fight. The commission doctor and referee Arthur McCanny went over to Quarry's corner, examined his right eye. Puffy closed. The left eye, too, now substantially closed. The vision apparently gone. Quarry crying bitterly. Didn't want the fight to be stopped, but it goes under state rules as a 7-round knockout for Joe Frazier, still the heavyweight champion in 6 states. And the time has come to talk with Joe Frazier, the winner. Frazier jumping around the ring, as you can see. Introduced as still the heavyweight champion. Joe, come on over here. Joe, Quarry started fast. Won perhaps only the first round. Changed his style. What happened after that?
Quarry thought maybe he would rush me with a right hand. Surprised, I'll fall for it. But I've been working with guys, like I say, good. And those guys that shoot a right hand, some of them been catching me. Some of Quarry right hand catch me. But I'm in better condition than him. And I know how to survive them punches. You seen the later rounds, I just stopped and started picking my shots after I had him slow down. If he had to go faster, I would go faster. And I would like to take time out to thank everybody around the whole wide world to watch who she really is the champion of the whole world. And I'll spend my title against anybody, any day, any time. But I think I'm going to retire right now.
You're kidding about that. What's that? Yancey Durham, Joe's manager.
Champion of the world. All you got to do, it's all about Cassius Clay. All you got to do is turn him loose and send him out. We'll tell him who's the champion.
You want to fight Muhammad Ali? What about Jimmy Ellis?
We'll have a couple of moves. We'll warm up with Jimmy Ellis and we'll fight Cassius Clay. Tell him to turn him loose and send him out here. We'll fight it.
All right. Let's get Joe Frazier back here. Joe. Wipe him off, Yancey, and bring him back, please. Again, you're looking at ring center. Joe, come here. Joe, in effect, you told me a moment ago that you started to pick your shots. You were coasting. Are you telling me this was an easy fight?
No, I didn't tell you it was an easy fight. Quarry came out fast, and I took all the steam out of him in the first 3 rounds or 4 rounds, and I'd see that. So it wasn't no sense to me keep throwing a whole lot of vicious shot at him, and I know I was going to miss him because all he was doing is covering up for the right eye and otherwise the left eye. So therefore, it wasn't no sense.
Wait a minute. Here comes Jimmy Ellis. Come in here, Jimmy. Here's Jimmy Ellis.
He ain't no champ. I don't even stand with it. You ain't really no boy.
Jimmy, turn around. He just said you ain't no champ. He ain't even going to stand with you. What do you say?
He's fighting all the guys I already beat. He haven't proved nothing. I beat Bonavina. I had him down 2 times. He's fighting Jerry Quarry. I run away with the fight.
When do you want to fight Frazier?
I'm ready to fight him tonight. I'm ready tonight. I'm in shape. I'm ready tonight.
All right, let's bring him over here. Joe, he says he's ready to fight you tonight.
He a chump. He goes in Florida and tries to get a darker tan. Look at it. A balloon. Oh, what's you call a balloon? You wouldn't say that with him. Can I? I'm going to beat you.
Listen. We may be having a fight here in the center of the ring.
Is 29 years of age. Ocasio's only 23. Holmes is 4.5 inches taller than Ocasio, but oddly, there's only a 4-inch edge in reach. Ocasio has long arms. Now we're going to stand by for the rendition of the respective national anthems. First, the Puerto Rican. Of Las Vegas, former resident of the Philippines. Refereed the Thriller in Manila. Holmes giving the stare to Ocasio. Ocasio not even looking at Holmes. Ocasio quite apparently unafraid, though the eyes just moved up to face Holmes then. It's an old tactic of Holmes's. He's patterned himself in many ways, despite frequent denials, after Muhammad Ali. You'll see similarities in the fighting style. Most of you have seen Holmes before. Only now, though, is he getting the recognition he deserves, as you look at referee Carlos Padilla, as a heavyweight fighter of quality and growing quality. There's the tail of the tape, the 6-year differential in age, the major differential in height. The weight, 214, 207. The reach, remember I said, not that radically different. Ocasio has long arms. His reach is 77, Holmes 81. The bell, the action underway. See Ocasio with a smile on his face. He grins constantly. Very unorthodox, crouching low. Holmes said in the pre-fight interview he would take it right to him. Holmes must punch downward. There he tried to and missed. Action. Nothing like that first round we saw when Shavers was swift, short, merciless, and knocked out Norton in 1 minute and 58 seconds of the fight. Holmes trying to land his best weapon, that stinging straight jab. Holmes came through with a right there. Ocasio, crouching target, half crouch, sometimes moving into a deeper crouch. The left of Holmes just got in. Larry, purposeful. Remember, he wants to knock this man out in a hurry, if he can. Ocasio just got a right in there, followed by a left. He is not an easy fighter to penetrate, because he is so unorthodox. Amateurish miss. First round action. Larry's right lead got in. His left was picked off beautifully by Ocasio's right glove. You see the counting down in the low right-hand corner of your screen. Less than 40 seconds to go in round one. Fight being carried clearly by Holmes. Crowd yelled. Ocasio had thrown a long left. It did not connect. Counting down now toward the end of the first round. Round coming to an end. We're back for round two, live from Las Vegas. Ocasio against Holmes. The first round dominated by Holmes, but Ocasio giving evidence of what a troublesome kind of fighter he is to meet. Rich Giacchetti, Holmes' manager, kept telling Holmes to use the right. He feels Ocasio is vulnerable to the right. In that vein, look at where Ocasio keeps his left. He has a tendency to drop it from time to time. Larry just scored with the right. Again the right. You see how Ocasio leaves himself open to the right? Ocasio with that flashing grin, if you want to call it that. But laughing doesn't score points. This is second round action. We're 1:05 into it. Larry Holmes has scored some clean blows in this round. Up the left end. Again the left. He wants to start doubling up on that left. See that right get in there? The right lead. Good left by Ocasio. Broke through Holmes' gloves. I know it's early in the fight, but Ocasio is not afraid, and he is difficult. At least up till now. A minute left in the round. This is second round action. Holmes has not used lateral movement at all against Ocasio. He's been squarely in front of him. Ocasio led with a right and got it through. But of course, the pace continues to be dominated by Holmes, who continues to do most of the scoring. Larry fighting flat-footedly against this opponent. He changes styles as dictated by the style of the opponent. Ocasio got in a right lead and the crowd roared. Counting down toward the end of round two. As we approach the end of the round, Ocasio a little bit tough. We'll be back. The bell for the start of round three, live. Holmes against Ocasio. WBC World Heavyweight Championship at stake. First two rounds dominated by Holmes. Not moving, standing flat-footedly, straight ahead into Ocasio. Puerto Rican youngster has a lot of heart. He's also got that awkward style. Holmes must continually punch down. Saw him try to start putting punches together against Ocasio. Ocasio's head keeps bobbing and weaving like a bouncing ball. Ocasio with the right. Crowd yells every time the underdog lands.
Drop the rope. Hey.
Stop that. I ain't on a fucking rope. Don't be hitting me like that.
Remember, scoring on a 10-point must system. Ring is 18 feet 5 inches. 8-ounce gloves, of course. 3 knockdown rule waived. We haven't had a semblance of a knockdown here with 1:20 left in round 3. Curious the way he keeps grinning. Ocasio. Minute to go in the 3rd round. Holmes trying to measure Ocasio. Not able to do it. Not thus far. That's the right uppercut that could become a key blow in this fight. Look for more Holmes uppercuts. The way Ocasio holds his head, he is vulnerable to the uppercut. Crowd roared, but Ocasio missed. He mustn't be misled by the roars of the crowd. Now counting down to the end of round 3. Round 4 just underway. Holmes dominating the fight, but Ocasio pleasing the crowd. Many didn't think it would last this long. See the grin on Ocasio's face constantly. See the bobbing and weaving down low. Remember the way Honest Bill Daly had him training, moving the head under a string in the ring. Both men unbeaten. Holmes 29 times into the ring, 29 times the victor, 20 KOs. Ocasio. Good left. That stung Ocasio. He shook his head, saying, "No, I'm not hurt." But Holmes got him with a left and then doubled up on him. Hit him both times. And that's the first real time tonight that I've seen. Now Holmes is beginning to get the left in there. Suddenly a change in the pattern. Though Holmes was dominating, he was not scoring cleanly, effectively, except at one point with the right lead. This round, he has used the left more effectively than at any time prior thereto in the fight. See the crowd roared, but Ocasio did not hit Holmes there. The attempted blows were picked off. 4th round action. Holmes trying to get through Ocasio's guard. Sometimes moving to the stomach, then pawing upward. Remember Ali against, right lead now. Now Ocasio's hurt. He threw a right lead, left himself wide open for Holmes' counterpunch. And he shook his head, and he was briefly staggered. But he's a gutsy kid. So Holmes comes at him again, using the left, as I said, more, and there in combination a left and a right. There is no smile on Ocasio's face, not now. He is trying to cover. Less than 30 seconds left, and this the 4th round. While Holmes has been dominating the fight, this was his first big round. We approach the end of round 4 with Larry Holmes in command. All right, there's Ocasio leading with a left, leaving himself wide open for the right. Part of the last round action when Holmes really took command. Not that he hasn't been dominating, he has, but I made the point. Right there, that left was a good score for Holmes.
Right hand. Let's go. Either one.
Obviously superior to the opponent. Holmes' only vulnerability could be impatience. I don't think he will be. He must methodically, purposefully continue to work this way. Ocasio can't possibly score points. Not against Holmes. See how Ocasio leaves himself open for the counter-punching right? This is what was discussed in the corner between Rich Giacchetti and Larry Holmes. He leads with the left, drops it. Holmes picks off the left with his, and then comes in with the right. Over Ocasio's left. The right again, becoming the most telling blow in the fight. Fifth round action. Larry going down to the stomach to try and draw the guard down and at the same time facilitate the opponent. When Ocasio gets in close, under Holmes' chin with the head, watch closely. That's where you look for the butt. See Larry now shifting the whole attack to the stomach. Look for the uppercut, too. Ocasio's in trouble. There are welts around the eyes. This is the fifth round. Holmes is just measuring him, trying to bring down the guard. Less than 20 seconds left in the round. Another completely Larry Holmes round. We'll be back in a moment. Back live, Las Vegas, round 6. Between rounds in Ocasio's corner, they kept asking him, where are you? Checking his sensibilities. Did he know where he was? In the last 2 rounds, he has taken a savage beating. It is clearly a mismatch. For those of you who joined us a little bit late, Ernie Shavers pulled one of the great upsets and one of the great performances, knocking out Kenny Norton in 1 minute and 58 seconds of the first round. Norton never knew what hit him. In his dressing room after the fight, he said, did I go down a second time? Did they stop him? He didn't even know what had happened. Here, the pattern is now totally evident. Holmes just chewing up. The crowd roared because Ocasio scored with a left. Ocasio staying in that crouch, the head bobbing and weaving. Larry Holmes fighting flat-footedly, taking it to Ocasio as he said. No movement from Larry tonight. Crowd yelled that left did not get through Holmes' glove. Minute 40 into the round. 6th round action. Same as the prior 5. Larry missed with the uppercut that could become the blow to end the fight, even as Shavers' right uppercut against Norton, in effect, ended that. We've got a minute left in the 6th round. Gutsy kid, isn't he? Ocasio. Heavy, strong legs and thighs. Deceptively heavy for the height at 207. You see Holmes scoring steadily with the left, getting it in more often than not. Ocasio trying to cover. Gloves up there, peekaboo style. And now the 6th round is almost over. So far it's a shutout in my scoring. Holmes every round. We'll be back. Round 7 as we come to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Holmes against Ocasio. Holmes winning almost at will, except for this. He hasn't been able to knock Ocasio out. Kid is tough. He's game. He is awkward with that style. Fighting out of a crouch, sometimes a half crouch, bobbing and weaving. He has been vulnerable to Holmes' right, as you just saw there. Tendency to lead with the left, drop his glove. Holmes comes over it with a counter punch. In only one round, the 4th, did Ocasio appear to be hurt. There, he was staggered right there with a left that got through. The body, the legs went backwards. There's that right uppercut. There, now Holmes is turning to the uppercut, to which Ocasio is particularly vulnerable, with the head held forward. There's the left, and down went Ocasio. 7th round, the round in which Holmes finished Evangelista. The kid is trying to shake his head clear. Carlos Padilla, the referee, touches his gloves, says the fight can continue, and out comes Ocasio with a wild right swing. Holmes remains methodical, purposeful, picking the opponent apart. One knockdown in this round, the first of the fight. Larry wants now to finish it, of course. And the left keeps getting in there. It was overdue. Now that Ocasio has been weakened and went down from the left, he threw the left. Holmes was waiting, banged right in with the right. Second knockdown in the round. Ocasio fights on. Padilla says, okay. Ocasio, now there's the 3rd knockdown, and that will do it. Brutal to watch. Holmes totally dominant from the very beginning. This kid with only 13 professional fights. Ocasio shakes his head. He wants to go on. The 3 knockdown rule waived. A championship fight. Padilla lets it go on. How much longer? That should do it. Stop. Padilla stops the fight. Finally, maybe 1 knockdown too late. The kid could have gotten seriously hurt. Now he's on his feet, shaking his head, trying to clear it. Well, I'll tell you this about Larry Holmes. Recognizing that Ocasio had had only 13 professional fights, conceding that it was a mismatch. The official time, by the way, 2 minutes 38 seconds of the 7th round. Granting all those facts, you like to see a fighter fight the way Holmes did. But everything he did was right as he went along, setting up the opponent. That's the left that scored the first knockdown in the 7th round when it ended. No, Holmes did not get impatient. And this was the last knockdown. See that left down low, and Holmes coming up over it with the right all night long.
About at 2 minutes,
all night
38
long.
seconds of the 7th round.
Ocasio was vulnerable. A mismatch. The way you fought the fight shows how clearly you've become a quality fighter of championship ability. They're going to have to recognize you. That was the first knockdown. That left. We will now look at the next one. See that left of his go down and see how quickly Larry responded with the right over it. Down went Ocasio. By the way, I am informed That Ocasio, remaining fully conscious throughout, responded clearly to the questions of his handlers, which is good news. Now there is the third one coming up. Again, the right. Now, finally, the left, the right, which grazed the head, and the left came in squarely on the chin and did it. So, Mr. Holmes, against that awkward lad, you did indeed prove that you can punch.
Yes, Howard.
Now, you're going to have to fight Ernie Shavers in September. That's agreed upon. He beat Norton. Last time, you made mincemeat of Ernie, moving laterally, side to side, sticking, always moving. Will you fight him the same way this time? He says it will be different.
Howard, first of all, before I answer your question, I have to say that at least one time. Hi, Mom, I'm all right, and hi to my two daughters, Misty and Lisa.
Is the WBA Bantamweight champion of the...
Artist, Gerald McClellan and Julian Jackson. Now, the average length of bouts for McClellan is less than 3 rounds. Jackson's fights average less than 4 rounds. So a year ago, when these two explosive boxers met in the ring, it was like a bomb, ready for detonation.
The date was May 8th, 1993. The champion, Julian Jackson. Nicknamed the Hawk for his ability to swoop down and destroy his opponents, he ruled the WBA junior middleweight and WBC middleweight divisions for the last 6 years. And with 43 KOs in 47 fights, Jackson had earned a reputation as one of boxing's most powerful punchers. The challenger, one of boxing's best-kept secrets, Gerald McClellan. Although he ended 25 of his 27 fights early, 17 in the first round, national fame continued to elude this 25-year-old prodigy from Detroit's fabled Kronk Gym. And while boxing insiders were unsure of who would win this fight, they all knew it would be a war. And they were right.
Gerald just came on the scene, and he was like unknown to us. But I knew that from what I heard that he was a very tough fighter, and I saw him live in Mexico, and he fought, and he was straight up, and I said, man, I'm going to take this guy, you know.
But just minutes into their fight, Jackson discovered a problem with his prediction.
There it is, a big right hand.
And Jackson is dropped in the opening minute.
To my surprise, he didn't stand straight up, but he moved back, you know, and my punches was just a little short, and he was just stepping back, you know, and that's something that threw me off.
In the second round, Jackson confused the younger challenger by dramatically altering his strategy, relying on his boxing skills instead of his punching power.
He kind of like got his momentum going that second round.
Big right hand by Julian Jackson.
At the end of the second round, he had a big finish, so I had to go back to the corner regroup and start my game plan all over again.
I knew I had him beyond a shadow of a doubt. I went back to my corner, and I was so confident, you know, and I was saying it's just a matter of a couple of rounds now, and I know he will be finished.
With renewed confidence, Jackson resumed his aggressive attack, hoping to finish the fight early, when suddenly the referee, Mills Lane, was forced to momentarily stop the action.
I said, man, wow, I was really upset. I was mad, and instead of getting back into the fight, you know, I more wanted to get back at him, you know, and lost control.
After a relatively slow fourth round came what many consider to be the best round of 1993. Halfway through the round, Jackson, who had been working McClellan's body, inadvertently went too low.
Lane said I had 5 minutes to recover, and Julian was looking at me, and to me he was getting stronger and stronger. So I figured, you know, the sooner I get up, the better. When I got up, he came right at me, and he stood right in front of me. That's when I caught him with the right hand and 2 left hooks.
I sort of went straight into that punch, and I saw it coming, and I couldn't get out the way because I was just rushing in. I wanted to continue, but I was hurt, and the referee used his discretion and did the right thing, and the fight was over.
It's over. Now, months later, Jackson has become obsessed with the need to regain his title and extract his revenge.
Last night I was just in bed lying, and I actually saw the fight. I'm giving him a boxing lesson, and I'm actually showing the world that a side of Julian Jackson that they haven't seen.
Because like he said, he's been eating, sleep, and dreaming. Gerald McClellan, he's going to come get his belt back. One thing I can do, by saying things like that, believe it or not, it scares me. So it makes me stay on my P's and Q's and be ready for the unexpected.
Both these sluggers share a healthy respect for each other's punching power, but they also share unhealthy intentions for each other's careers. Man your battle stations. McClellan-Jackson 2 should be another war. Coming up, the WBC middleweight championship between the champion Gerald McClellan and former champion Julian Jackson. Standing by at ringside to call the blow-by-blow action are Steve Albert, Bertie Pacheco, and Bobby Chess. Steve.
Thanks again, Jim. Since Gerald McClellan took the title from Julian Jackson back on May 8th of '93, he has gone out and defended the belt twice. The first defense came August 6th, an easy first-round knockout of Jay Bell in Bayamon, Puerto Rico. Then on March 4th, McClellan made quick work of Gilbert Baptist, a first-round stoppage right here at the MGM Grand. So his last bout, 63 days ago. Exactly the same for two-time world champion Julian Jackson. Jackson has had 3 tune-up fights since McClellan. 2 first-round TKOs over Carlton Haywood and Jaime Montoya. And this past March, he decisioned Eduardo Ayala. Now, Gerald McClellan no longer working with trainer Emmanuel Stewart, who helped guide him to the WBC middleweight throne. He's now with Willie Brown. Will the change in trainers have an effect on the champion? Bobby, your thoughts?
A change in trainers that have guided world champions all the way to their titles could be drastically bad emotionally. Will Gerald McClellan trust his new trainer? But after Emmanuel Stewart told us earlier, the trainer is one of his disciples, a little guy that's in the gym with him all the time, a co-trainer. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be a problem here, but if he doesn't have what he needs in the corner and things get rough, that could be it, and it's mental, it's not physical.
All right, now Julian Jackson has had ongoing problems with his hand. Let's get the fight doctor's assessment of that and the possibility of retirement if he should lose.
I think the possibility of retirement is very good if he loses, but not because of his hands. He's had multiple eye surgery. He's had detached retinas fixed. He's had all kinds of trouble with both hands. He is at the downward turn of his career because his chin is suspect now. So if he got knocked out today, I think he could really realistically look at his career and say, that's it, I call it a day. I would not be surprised to see him retire. On the other hand, he's such a warrior, he might continue. On the other hand, nothing's to say that he can't win tonight because this guy can bang. So we've got another one of those 50-50 fights coming up right now. You don't know which one of these two guys is going to win.
Let's take our first look at the challenger. 33-year-old Julian Jackson from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. Jackson, the former WBC middleweight champion and former WBA junior middleweight champ, comes in with a record of 49-2 with 45 KOs. Julian Jackson, who made 5 successful defenses of his WBC title before that 5th-round TKO loss to Gerald McClellan last May. That defeat ended a 17-fight winning streak, 16 by knockout. And now here is the champion, 26-year-old Gerald McClellan out of Freeport, Illinois. McClellan 30-2, 28 knockouts. The 2 losses early in his career, 8-round decisions to Dennis Milton and Ralph Ward, back-to-back in '89. McClellan captured the WBC middleweight title almost a year ago to the day, May 8th, 1993, with that stunning stoppage of the longtime middleweight champ Julian Jackson. He owns one of the best knockout ratios in the game, including 19 first-round KOs in 32 fights. Tonight, his 3rd title defense. As we zero in on the particulars, the tail of the tape at 26, Gerald McClellan is 7 years younger than Julian Jackson. The 1.5-inch height advantage for McClellan. Both weighed in at 160. And the 4.5-inch reach advantage for McClellan. McClellan down to a 3.5-to-1 favorite. To the rules, according to the WBC for this title fight, 10-point must system, 3 scoring judges, no standing 8, no 3 knockdown. Only the referee can stop the fight. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell except in the last round. So here at the MGM Grand Garden in Las Vegas, getting ready for the WBC Middleweight Championship, the rematch between Gerald McClellan and Julian Jackson. We go up to our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Well, fans, we welcome you to our next world title main event in this Revenge the Rematches, brought to you by Don King Productions and King Vision in association with SET Pay-Per-View, Corona Beer, and the MGM Grand. At this time, we present the rematch for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council, President Jose Sullivan, Supervisor Haig Collegian, along with the Nevada State Athletic Commission Chairman Dr. Elias Galam. Presenting the judges as appointed: Cindy Barton, Bill Graham, and Dr. James Jenkin. Introducing to you the referee in charge of this bout, Joe Cortez. All right, fans, here we go with the rematch of the explosive bout that took place just 1 year ago, and this is for the WBC Middleweight Championship of the World, scheduled for 12 rounds of boxing. Introducing to you first the challenger. On my left, he is fighting out of the blue corner. He enters the ring wearing gold trunks with red trim and hailing from St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. He weighed in at an even 160 pounds, and his record includes 49 wins, only 2 losses, with 45 big wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked the WBC #2 middleweight in the world. Please welcome the knockout artist, who is the former 2-time world champion in the junior middleweight and middleweight divisions, introducing Julian the Hawk Jackson. And his opponent across the ring is the defending champion. On my right, fighting out of the red corner, he enters the ring wearing green trunks with white trim, fighting out of Freeport, Illinois. He weighed in at the same weight of an even 160 pounds, and he steps into the ring with a record of 30 wins, only 2 losses, and he has 28 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, making his 3rd defense of his title, please welcome the hard-hitting WBC middleweight champion of the world, introducing the G-Man, Gerald McClellan. Once again, here's the referee in charge, Joe Cortez.
All right, gentlemen, come here. We went over the rules in the dressing room. I want a good, clean fight. Protect yourself at all times. Shake hands. Good luck.
Gerald McClellan, the only man on this card who had a little trouble making weight. Nothing new for the G-Man. He was a quarter pound overweight, went out, came back in an hour, weighed 160, saying afterwards, this is my last fight as a middleweight. He's probably closer to 180 for the fight. A key for Jackson could be to get this fight past the 4th or 5th round. Both McClellan and Jackson average under 4 rounds. Here we go, round 1, scheduled for 12 for the WBC Middleweight Championship. Gerald McClellan with a 5th round knockout over Julian Jackson in the first encounter.
McClellan's come out with a real good jab. Oh, a big right hand.
Right off the bat, Jackson's in dire trouble. McClellan looking to finish him up seconds into the fight. Pummeling Jackson.
I'll tell you what, they're going to stop this if he doesn't offer up a punch. This fight's going to be over.
He could go down and take an 8 count.
I'll tell you, it gets better than getting hit like that.
Relentless attack by McClellan, and finally Jackson going down. Sort of.
4, 5, 6, 7.
The over-under 6 rounds. This might not go a minute. That comes McClellan.
What McClellan doesn't want to do is get a little overconfident sloppy, because Jackson can punch.
And down goes Jackson for the 2nd time. And this time he looks like he's crumpled for good.
He hit him on top of the head on the way down, and I'm telling you, he is totally disoriented.
He looks like he's not going to get up.
He's through. Joe Cortez says it's over. And in the first round, Gerald McClellan has retained his title.
And that's the first one where revenge did not take place. It stayed, the result stayed the same. Instant finish for Gerald McClellan. What a puncher.
Actually, didn't get a chance to talk about it on the air. We talked about it in interviews. Jackson said he wanted to try and box first, but he couldn't get caught with that right hand. He had to box sharp. McClellan came out very aggressive, good sharp jab, landed the right hand, beginning of the end.
You know, we've said all along, you've said, I've said, Steve has observed this guy has no chin anymore. Well, he got hit really hard, and he went down, and then, of course, with the chin that he's got, he couldn't overcome that attack.
Unofficially, a minute 23 into the first round, the 20th first round knockout in 30 wins for Gerald McClellan.
Going to continue, man.
Exploding.
If you just heard him, he said, I'm going to continue. I'm not sure why, but fighters hate to roll over and say, I quit.
Well, especially a fast one like that. I mean, you always have the feeling, I just got caught. I mean, let me go back and try that again. And he better never try it again with McClellan, because that's going to be the same result over and over again. Gerald McClellan can box.
If you think I was a little
Let's take a look at that first knockdown and see what lightning struck Julian Jackson.
Whenever I hit him, it was going.
All right, let's take 3 looks. I'm going to take the first one, and Bobby's going to do the other 2 as I go up. There's a punch. That right hand right there. That right hand right there was the quietus. The rest of this is window dressing until he goes down, because he is sure taking some punishment here. That's a brutal attack, although he's hitting a lot of gloves and everything. As Bobby says, some of those hurt as well.
For sure, the repercussions travel through the glove. Certainly it's taken away a little bit, but they go through the gloves right into your chin, right into your face. And if it were that easy to just put the gloves up here and say, don't worry about it, knockouts wouldn't happen near as awful.
That's true. Well, it's certainly Julian has taken an awful lot of punishment there. I mean, he really, actually, he didn't go down there. He didn't touch anything. But mercifully, they gave him a count.
He should have gone down at a certain point anyway, so he didn't get, as you'll see in this replay, he's just getting unloaded on with everything. Again, he gets lazy with the left hand, boom. Right hand's on the button, it's clean. Now his legs are a little bit under him now, although they're a little wobbly, but he just needs to go down and take the account. Take the rest and come back to fight. Sometimes that's a smart thing to do. It's difficult for fighters with a lot of pride to do it. I know unfortunately, I've been in that situation. I don't want to go down either.
Prior to his first fight with Jackson, McClellan toiled for the most part in obscurity, Bobby. The win over Jackson really put him on the map. This win really makes him one of the most devastating fighters in the world today.
And some fighters just fight even better as a champion. They rise to the championship status in their performance, and I think Gerald McClellan may very well be one of those people.
Now that was just the initial knockdown, the first. Here, the end of the fight.
Well, Gerald's a great finisher. He's coming in. He knows that Jackson's hurt. He wants to unload that bomb. Digs a good shot to the body. Watch this shot on top of the head. He hit him in the body. That hurt him more than we thought. And that shot on top of the head was actually just a kind of a pile driver to say, make sure you stay there.
The heavy-handed Julian Jackson putting it to the canvas as Gerald McClellan just lowers the boom. Let's get the official time from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 23 seconds in round number 1. The winner by way of knockout and still champion, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
So Gerald McClellan continues his impressive knockout rate. He's 31-2 with 29 knockouts. And he got all he wanted to get here against Julian Jackson. No revenge in this fight. So coming up next here at the MGM Grand Garden, the main event, the rematch between Frankie Randall and Julio Cesar Chavez, as Chavez tries to regain his WBC Super Lightweight Championship and atone for his only defeat. And here's the man who pulled it off, the only man in history to defeat the mighty Chavez. Frankie Randall making final preparations for the rematch in his dressing room. Randall has held the title for 96 days. You hear the reaction. They're seeing this on the big screen, the Chavez contingency here. Now, just a matter of minutes, he'll look to regain the title he took away, retain it from Chavez. For now, though, we'll go back up into the ring of the fight doctor, Ferdy Pacheco.
Well, you can't possibly be tired. That's the fastest I've ever seen you work.
Well, I work hard, I train hard. I know with my punching power and boxing ability, whenever I hit a guy on the chin with either hand or to the body, he's going to be in trouble.
Did Julian ever get one shot in that you felt?
Well, I got a little bruise in my right eye. I don't know if it was a punch or his hair. I don't know what it was, but, I was too busy trying to, get him out of there. I wasn't worried about what he was throwing back. The first shot I threw him with, I knew I had him. The very first shot he hit me with, he was weak. He felt like 147 pounder.
Here's where we're looking at the monitor now. You describe it. This is you. Now watch your first right hand. Now watch here. Now here comes the right hand.
Right hand with that first right hand, he was hurt. He had to be hurt, because Gerald McClellan is the hardest puncher out there in boxing, and whoever I hit with those shots will lay down.
Don't you think long about here, this guy had been better served to take an 8 count and not take all that punishment he was
taking. Believe it or not, by him being in the ring so long, he's supposed to be a veteran. And if it was me, with the experience I got, I went down on one knee and got the heat up off me and got up and got my mind together, collected myself, and started all over again.
None of that tired you out?
Well, I was throwing a lot of punches. I was landing a lot. I would lie if I told you I wasn't tired. Whenever you're working hard, you got to be getting tired. If you're not tired, you're not working hard.
But you had the confidence that I was going to be over in the first round.
I had a lot of confidence. Whenever Gerald McClellan gets a fighter hurt, get him in trouble, not swinging back, he's as good as dead.
Well, one last thing we've got to talk about is your weight. Your weight, you had to struggle to make it, and this is so successful. Are you going to stay here? You're going to go up?
Well, I'll get that to me and Don to talk about that.
Let's talk about it. Don's right here, and Don hasn't said a thing all night. Don.
Well, we're going to work at it and see what he want to do, but I tell you right now, I just want to relish in his victory. I want to savor the victory he had tonight. He proved by far he's the best middleweight out there and would challenge any middleweight in the world, super middleweight or middleweight. So he can go all the way down the line, Ferdy. I think we got us a winner right here, and we're going to play him and let him get ready to go out there and knock out guys.
So far, we've had 2 revenges and one the same as it was the first time. Now comes the big 4.
Yeah, here comes the big 4 now. It's going to be one great night of boxing. It's been a super show. We had a boxing 101 lesson with Terry Norris, and so here we got back with the knockout that just like we thought it would be. Somebody was going to leave, and it was Julian Jackson, but it was a great fight.
Well, let's see what Jim Gray finds out about Julian Jackson's plans. So Jim Gray.
Okay, Ferdy, I'm here with Julian. First of all, are you all right?
I'm all right, man. No doubt about it. He caught me with a surprise punch. I felt that I could have still continued. He caught me a good shot, and I had my faculties, and I guess Cortez felt that I had enough.
The big right hand. Did you feel he would come out and try and end it real soon with you?
Well, I think he would try and jump on me because he realized that if the fight go the distance, he would have been in trouble. He tried to jump on me, and he took advantage of it. The referee made a decision, and but I could have continued.
Did you tell the referee that?
Definitely, and the referee, I realized, he know that we are both punchers, and Gerald McClellan came out. He know that if I stayed around, he said, hey, he will try and jump on me and try and get the referee to stop the fight. I felt that was okay. I got a good shot, but my faculties were still there.
What are your plans now? What will you do?
Well, hey, I'm not a quitter, you know what I'm saying? I still got a lot left. Gerald McClellan, caught me a good punch. I felt that I would split it regardless, of the outcome of this fight. But, what can I say? I'm a diehard, you know what I'm saying? And I just give God the glory, and He's Lord of my life. And I believe that Gerald McClellan is a big man. He's a strong, this guy is big. I think he's the biggest middleweight out there, you know what I'm saying? And, I'm not ashamed.
What are you going to do? Who would you fight? What do you want to do with your career now?
Well, I'm going to tell you the truth. I came down to a junior middleweight while I was training. I had to lay off to gain weight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I was saying to my people after this fight, I'm going to challenge Terry Norris or Simon Brown, whoever wins. Because the weight is hard for me to keep middleweight. I have to eat maybe 3 times, 4 or 5 days before the weigh-in just to make the weight. You know, Gerald McClellan was strong.
So maybe what you're saying is you'll move down to fight a man that you beat, Terry Norris, once before.
Definitely, you know, as a matter of fact, we planned it even after this fight. If we win this fight, we was going to challenge the winner of Terry Norris, Simon Brown.
Julian, most gracious in defeat, two-time champion. Good luck in the future.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to Steve Albert.
Thank you very much.
119 1/4 pounds. He's 6'3", and he won the title on January 22nd of this year. He's undefeated. He's won all 38 fights, 35 by KO. So how perfect can you get? He's a former Olympic heavyweight champion. He won the title in 1968 in Mexico City. And we're all set for round number 1 of the first World Heavyweight Championship fight in Tokyo.
Jay Edson, by the way, this is his 13th championship fight and his 6th in Tokyo. Here's Len.
Of course, as you probably have already guessed, Roman will box and move through the early part of the fight. Maybe 5, 6, 7 rounds. Foreman, on the other hand, has told me he will try for a knockout as soon as possible. This is a 17-foot ring, by the way, and George will constantly try to cut the ring in half. Roman, on the other hand, of course, will try and stay out of corners.
All right, put that in. Put that in.
The ring was a
They're feeling each other out. Right uppercut stung Roman. Manager Bill Daly raised this point in the pre-fight instructions about Foreman pushing his man away and then punching. He's got Roman in the corner, and that's dangerous. An accidental punch. George hit Roman while he was down. The second time. Try to pick the count of 5, 6, 7. Jay Edson brings them in. A right uppercut did the job. I don't think he's going to make it, friends.
Why is it?
That's it.
It was as predicted, Len. A lot of heart. He tried to stay away. The 17-foot ring. And George Foreman just cut him off.
A hotel casino where gentlemen dressed in turbans welcome you as you arrive in your taxi. Non-title fight here for Gerald McClellan, the WBO middleweight champion who won the title with a stunning first-round knockout of John Mugabe in London. He's up against Carl Sullivan. There's his record for you. Fighting rather above his weight. He was originally a light middleweight. Tony Perez, your referee for this one. And McClellan should win it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 10 rounds in the middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. He's wearing the emerald green with black colors, weighing in at 162 pounds from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His professional record, 12 victories with 8 KOs against only 4 defeats. Ladies and gentlemen, the Irish assassin, Carl Sullivan. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the Kronk gold and weighing in at 164 pounds from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. His record, 24 victories with 22 KOs, only 2 defeats. He currently holds the WBO middleweight title not on the line tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the G-Man, Gerald McClellan.
Gerald McClellan. Many people are wondering whether this fellow could be just as thunderous a puncher as Julian Jackson at this weight.
Two things you must remember. Obey my commands and protect yourself at all times. Check hands. Good luck to the both of you.
Final instructions from referee Tony Perez. Carl Sullivan, who fought Lindell Holmes for the IBF super middleweight title in Seattle back in 1990, saw that fight and he was thoroughly outclassed. McClellan, a big puncher, and he has the reputation of when he hits you, you stay hit.
McClellan looked very good. I seen the fight with McGarvey, and he looked very good and very strong and started very fast. So we're looking to do the same thing in this fight.
McClellan, who boxes out of the famous Kronk gym, he's wearing their famed yellow and red colors. Just working behind a very stiff-looking jab early on. Oh, look at that right hand. He's already shaken Sullivan up here. And Sullivan is down in the first 30 seconds of the contest. Well, this might not last very long. And I think the referee is stopping it already. The gum shield is out. Or does he want the gum shield rinsed? I believe he stopped the fight. If so, that's got to be one of the quickest stoppages on record. I'll be interested to hear exactly what that was. He must have thrown about 6 punches, and it's all it took.
Well, it was the first decent right hand. He threw good jabs, and there's a bolting right hand right through the defense, and he was in very bad trouble after that one. He started very good, McClellan. Got that jab landing right from the off. His range was perfect, and that just gave him the right distance to get the right hand on.
That was the punch that did it, Glenn, that right hand, and there was no way back from that. And the referee, I think, took a sensible decision there because there was only more of the same to follow.
45 seconds into the very first round, the winner by TKO, the G-Man from the Motor City, Gerald McClellan.
That's 25 wins, only 2 defeats, points won against Dennis Morton and Ralph Ward back in 1989 for Gerald McClellan, who really is buzzing just at the moment. Gerald McClellan, well, let's have a chat with him. He's talking now with Joe Goosen.
Yeah, now let me ask you, Gerald, was it supposed to be this easy for you tonight?
Well, like I told you in my room, I was going to take my time and box, work the jab up and down, and I'll find an opening somewhere, and the opening came. I went for it.
You were hitting him with that jab at surprisingly, with very little effort, and everything you were throwing seemed to land on.
Well, I worked on my jab a lot, on a heavy bag, trying to master it up and down, hook off the jab, and it worked for me.
Did you know when you hit him with that right hand he wasn't getting up?
Well, I was just telling Emmanuel I have a tendency every time I land the right hand on the chin, I turn and walk before the opponent falls because, I'm confident in it, but I came back and jumped on him.
Now, obviously, I know Emmanuel would like to move you up in some competition. Of course, you've had your share of real good competition. What would be the next step that you would like to take in the middleweight division?
Well, I'll lead it up to Emmanuel. Whatever Emmanuel put together, I'll take. But it's a lot of middleweights out there. I would never pick no name because, no grudge match, I got on my mind. But one guy I would like to challenge is always calling me out is James Toney. And I think he's watching this fight, and I hope he give me a chance to fight for the IBF title.
Let me bring Emmanuel Stewart in here, Gerald's trainer. Emmanuel, now, Gerald brought up the name James Toney. Of course, he's booked for the next few months. But have you had any sort of talk with him?
Well, I've already spoke to Bob Arum, and he has expressed a great interest in having Gerald fight the winner of the Mike McCallum-James Toney match. And we don't know who's going to win that because Mike couldn't possibly win that. But we are very interested in fighting the winner. I think that Gerald is definitely, one of the best middleweights in the world right now.
That's right. You certainly looked at it. Did you get hit with anything tonight?
Well, I got hit with either a right hand or a hook.